Alright, welcome to the Soul Quest. I'm Kyle Tomko. Today I'm going to do a quick one. It's going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. That's what I generally want them to be. If they last any longer, it's because I got excited or I just didn't know what to do. Because I was so excited and I just keep rambling and rambling. I love to talk. Like the other one, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, or you want me to do a certain topic or anything, then I'd be glad to do it. Just email me at ktomko@liberty.edu. Sorry about that. And that's ktomko@liberty.edu. I'll be glad to answer your emails, regardless if they're rude or not. I will treat you with the utmost respect. I'm not going to demean you in any way, so feel free to contact me. And I'm going to reply to everything. I generally check my emails about every 15 minutes if I'm not working. They come to my cell phone, so I always have my cell phone on me. So I will get back to them, and I won't leave you hanging. A little bit about today's it's about the parable of the sower. It's the farmer who sowed seeds in his field. Some of the seeds fell on paths and the birds quickly ate it. Some of the seeds fell on rocks and there's not much soil, so the plants grew quickly, but the sun dried them up and killed them. Some of those seeds grew in places where there were too many weeds, and the weeds stopped the growth of the plants died. But other seeds fell on good ground, so the plants grew well, and the farmer had a harvest for the season. So you think about it, and obviously a farmer's job is to grow stuff. He wants to grow enough stuff so he can get enough money and so he can live prosperous and enjoy what he's doing. Obviously, there's only one way to do it. He has to have a good harvest. He can't just have a bad harvest and be like, oh, I made no money. That's okay. He never wants to do that. I mean, he might be financially stable enough to do that, but he never wants to do that. But that happens. And you have to look for ways to, when you're a farmer, you have to look for ways that are going to help you and stuff like that. So I wanted to get into the parable of the sower today because I think it's a great story and it relates to my life a lot, and I hope it relates to your life a lot as well. The explanation of the story is simple. By the way, just a quick brief off thing, I am going to be reading some off of paper I have, so I know if my eyes are looking down and reading across something, I'm reading off the paper, and that way I don't want to mess things up, because I have good things written out and I really like to use them. I don't want to be like, So, anyways, back to it. The explanation of the story is, like I said, simple. Jesus has explained it to his disciples. The farmer is like Jesus. The seed that he sows is the seed of good news about Jesus. The farmer sows these seeds in many different places, just as Christians tell God's good news in many different places. What happens to these seeds is different in different places. It is the same with the good news about Jesus. It is a good result in the lives of some people, and it is a poor result in the lives of others. Let's jump into the first part of it. The first seeds were the ones that fell on the path, and the birds quickly ate them up, where there was no soil. So this is like the people that hear the good news, but don't want to hear about it at all. You know, those people that are so adamant that they're atheists and they never want to talk to you about it. These are kind of like those people. I have friends that are atheists that aren't rude to me, though. They let me explain myself, and we have good talks and good communications towards each other, even though we're on totally two different sides of the spectrum. But there are some people out there that they give no attention to what you're saying at all. It is so low. You're like, God is great, and they're like, God is awful. And so they don't want any attention at all. These people do not change their behaviors. And these people do not think about other people. They are selfish. They quickly forget about the good news. You know, I don't know how many people you know, but I know a lot that are very selfish. And very, I only care about myself. I only want to help myself out. And it's like, all right, that's kind of harsh, but, And so when you get to that, it's like, okay, how do you go approach this? How do you approach somebody like that? And it's hard to approach somebody like that. They're not willing to listen, and they're not ready to listen. So one of the main things you have to do for them is pray that God will unharden their hearts, and so they'll listen. But that's the seeds that fall on the path. They're not going to give you any attention at all. They don't care about the word. They don't care about anything that you're saying about it, and they're not going to change. Then there's the seeds that fall on the rocks. It grows quickly, but then it dies. These are the people that they hear the word, and they get excited for the word, and they get set on fire for about 2 weeks. About a week. And then it's gone. You know, they were excited about it until they had a difficult time, or people started laughing at them, or they had no more interest in Jesus. They're like, yep, he did something for me last week. He's not going to do anything for me anymore. That's cool. And then they never really trusted God. You know, this is where I was for a majority of my life. And I know I'm not that old. I'm only 20 years old. But, you know, my junior high years and my middle school years and my elementary school years that I knew about the Lord, this is where I was. You know, I didn't accept the Lord until like November 16th of 2010. And it was a great day, and that was a truly big change in my life. But before that, I was like this. I knew my Bible, and I would get passionate. I would be, yeah, let's do this. I got God on my side. I can preach about God. I can talk about God to other people. And then the next week, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to pray. I don't want to read my Bible today. Let's just do it tomorrow. Let's just do it tomorrow. And then it get pushed off, and then it's eventually gone. You know, I never really trusted in God that he'd provide for me, and I never really trusted in God that he had a plan for my life. You know, like I said yesterday, in yesterday's the quest is, I said, for I know the plans I have for you, trust in the Lord wholeheartedly, and you will find them, is what I get out of Jeremiah 29:11-13. God has a plan. Awesome. But I never trusted that growing up because I was, well, young, immature, and I wanted to make sure that I had a good solid head on my shoulders so I could get a great job and have money, and just, I was selfish. Anybody that grew up with me probably can tell you that is, you know, I was probably a 5-minute Christian, 10-minute Christian. It was just on the weekends. It was bad. But, you know, I learned from that, and I wouldn't change it for any other ways, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had anywhere to grow from, and I wouldn't know, hey, I can help the people that are going through that now. This is how I changed. Maybe it'll help you change if you want to change, you know. So, but this is how I was. I'd get so on fire some weeks, and I'd go for maybe a month or so. I'd be so on fire trying to get people to come to youth group, you know, going to youth group, talking about everything. I knew the Bible. I could answer the questions before they were asked. And then 2 weeks later, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. You know, it's cool. Or there was a point, this is sad, but there was a point in youth group where I just stopped coming altogether. I stopped going for about a year when they hired this youth director, because at the time I didn't like her. And it wasn't that I didn't like her, but I thought I didn't like her because they didn't hire the one I wanted. So I just didn't go. But then when I started going and gave her a chance, she was fantastic. I loved it. It was good. I learned a lot there, you know. I was more of the adult there with her because I was the only senior, I think, in my year. And then the next closest to my age was a person that was either a year younger than me or 2 years younger, and she didn't really come. And then the next closest were all the 9th graders, 8th graders, 7th graders. So it was kind of different. But, you know, I was kind of the one that they looked up to, so I had to put on a role model-esque kind of thing, and I did. I tried. So that's where that is. And that's where I was. You know, it was bad. But, you know, I helped people while I was in the bad. You know, there's many people that tell me that, hey, what you said to me when we were in junior high was so fantastic. It was awesome. And I was like, well, awesome, cool, I'm glad, congrats. So that's the rocks. That's the seeds that fall quickly on the rocks. The next ones are some seeds begin to grow among the weeds, and the weeds kill it. This teaches us that some people have no time for Jesus. They are selfish, and they want things for themselves. Perhaps they want to be rich or powerful. They worry all the time. They are anxious about their possessions. That's me too. I did that too. I always worry. I'm a worrywart. You know, I would always be like, oh my gosh, this has to be this way, or this has to be this way, or I need to make money, or what's the best way to do this because I want to be the most prosperous with this. You know, I don't really have time for you, God. I want to go watch the Seahawks game, so I'll see you later. Maybe I'll come talk to you sometime soon. Or, you know, I kind of want to go hang out with my friends on Saturday night, so Sunday morning I'm going to kind of be too tired to come to church. So, yeah, you know, maybe next week, you know, is that all right? Yeah, sure. That's what I would think. And so I didn't really want to give the time to God because I thought my time was getting spent in a much better way. You know, going to the Rockin' Bowl every single Friday and Saturday was one of the things I would do growing up. You know, I went to Rockin' Bowl a lot. I'm a bowler. I average about 180. Lately I've been average about 190, so I'm getting even better. But you know, it I didn't want to give time to God because I didn't trust God. I didn't really have God in my heart. I was worried. I wanted to do it on my own. So I was like that too, and it's sad, but you have to admit it. I was very anxious. I wanted everything to be done quickly. I didn't want to wait for anything. I had no patience growing up. I had none. And it was bad. I'd sit there and my dad's like, we're leaving in 15 minutes. I'm like, can we leave now? Can we leave now? Can we leave now? Kyle, calm down. No, I want to leave now. Okay. It was definitely interesting, to say the least. But that's those seeds. The people that don't really have the time to talk to God. They don't really think they have the time to do anything. But let me ask you this. Is 1 more minute or 2 more minutes at night to pray before you go to bed, is that going to kill you? Is 30 minutes of, instead of watching TV, instead you read the Bible, is that going to kill you? I don't think so. I think you have to get your priorities straight. And you have to realize that God's on top. It is. It's true. It took me a long time to realize that. It took me 20 years to realize that. That's just what it is. So finally, we hear about the seeds that fall on the good ground. The good ground is like people who love the Lord. They believe in Jesus Christ. God will bless these people. The Holy Spirit will love these people. And they will be able to forgive other people and live in peace with them. They will be joyful. This is because God can change them. He can change the insides of these people and change their behavior. This is where I want to be, and I cannot lie to you, I am not fully here yet. And it's hard for me to admit that, but truthfully, I'm not fully here yet. I'm getting there. Don't worry, I'm getting there. But I'm not there yet. I know I still press people's buttons sometimes just to get them peeved because, well, I find it kind of funny. It's terrible, I know, but it is funny. And, I tell them that, and then I apologize for it, and when I catch myself doing it, because I'm trying to stop, That's how I've been. I like to press people's buttons, or I did like to press people's buttons, but I've been getting better, I promise. But, this is where I want to be. I want to be able to be one of those people that I can forgive the other people. Right now I can honestly, truthfully say to you that I have no anger towards anybody. Right now. I have no anger towards anybody. You can be upset with somebody but not be angry at them. I'm confused about a lot of people, but, I'm not angered. I just have to go on with the plan that God has. God has a reason that everything happened. God has a reason for this person to treat me wrong. But I have to be able to forgive them and live at peace with them. If I see somebody that I really don't like walking down the hall, I don't want to be rude to them. I want to say, hey, how you doing? Have a great day. I hope everything's going well, I don't want to be like, oh gosh, here they come, hide out of the room, shoot. That's just not me. So that's that. That's just the basic gist of the parable. This parable can teach us about ourselves. God will bless those people who trust in Him. Definitely God will bless those people. And we can learn from this parable the same truth as we learn from everything else. If we have God, and we believe in God, and we trust in God, we let God control us, because we should, things will be a lot better. He will teach us, and He will change us. That's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, questions or concerns, comment or email me. I'd be glad to listen to you. If you have anything you want me to talk about, I'll be glad to do it. Sometimes I'll get really passionate if somebody sends me something. It's like something I really want to talk about. But I hope you enjoyed this. Peace. Kyle out.